I'm about to be ranking the 10 best second round picks based off their current value in the NBA today. You'll find out why each player was passed on by every single franchise in round 1, the odds selections ahead of them at their position, and how they've overcame the odds to become the talent they are to this day. Number 10, Draymond Green. As much as people laugh at and hate on the Warriors' power forward, that same energy can be directed at Bleacher Report columnist Grant Hughes, who wrote right after Draymond was drafted way back on July 5th, 2012, that quote-unquote, for the Golden State Warriors second rounder, failure is practically assured. Hughes based that prediction off the fact that Green was a part of a historically cursed category of NBA players, consensus first-team All-Americans in college who weren't drafted in the first round. But immediately after that in the 2012-13 season, up until last year in 2018-19, Draymond got to work on carving out a legacy consisting of a Defensive Player of the Year award, 2 All-NBA teams, 5 All-Defensive teams, and 3 All-Star appearances. Looking back and laughing at the GMs that overlooked him and writers that completely disrespected him, Draymond's memorized by heart each and every single one of the 34 players taken ahead of him in the 2012 NBA draft. Many used to admire Draymond for overcoming the odds, but the hates come his way as of late, most recently for saying the BLM movement doesn't affect the Raptors. Green just came off a season where he shot a career low from both the field at 39% and from three-point range at 28%. I'm not blaming Draymond too much for those stats, because like one other player you'll see ranked today, Green's been forced into a role he's not fit to be in. This man's a role player, we all knew that. But Green's defensive impact and toughness are still there, and that's the factor putting him on this list ahead of talents you'll see in the honorable mentions before number 1 that were impressive to be ahead of. Number 9, HASSAN Whiteside. I have vivid memories of watching a young 25-year-old prospect Whiteside get called up from the G League and break onto the scene for Miami back in the 2014-15 campaign. But it wasn't an easy road to the pros whatsoever for the now 8-year NBA veteran Whiteside, as after he was drafted 33rd by the Sacramento Kings back in 2010, he would spend that year up until his Heat debut up and down from the then known as Development League. The man even played in China. Then he spent the 2014 Summer League with the Toronto Raptors and preseason with the Memphis Grizzlies, who both passed on him, and then it was back to the Iowa Energy. November 24th, 2014 was where Miami picked him up, but again, HASSAN wasn't being given a chance as he got 0 playing time and was assigned to the Sioux Falls Skyforce on December 13th. It wasn't until the new year where he was given a fair opportunity, and ever since then, including this season, HASSAN Whiteside has posted 6 straight seasons of averaging a double-double and about 2 blocks. This guy doesn't get enough respect and deserves to be brought up among the top centers in the game. Number 8, Devonte Graham. Here's the other man on this list that's been forced into a role like Draymond that he's not comfortable in, but the Hornets guard's a candidate for Most Improved Player of the Year after upping his scoring by over 14 points per game from his rookie season. Also joining elite company, Devonte is one of 7 players to shoot at least 5 pull-up three-pointers while knocking down over 34% of them. Back in 2018's draft, Graham was incredibly the 7th point guard selected behind Trae Young, Colin Sexton, Aaron Holiday, Landry Shamet, Elie Okobo, Javon Carter, and Jalen Brunson. When the Hornets traded for Devonte after the Atlanta Hawks selected him 34th overall, not many expected the talented 6'1" point guard out of Kansas to do much. Last year in his rookie year, when Kemba Walker was cemented as Charlotte's starter and Tony Parker was set to back him up, not much opportunity was available for Graham, but this year, Devonte's 7.5 assists per game are the highest total from a Charlotte player since 2007-2008. And he's also 6th in the entire NBA, behind 5 other All-Stars in three-pointers made. Number 7, Norman Powell. Leading all shooting guards in field goal percentage, the fact that the Raptors stole this man for just Grievous Vasquez on 2015's draft night is looking like more of a swindle by the day. In that draft, the Raptors set up a deal with Milwaukee to select the number 46 pick, and Toronto management didn't know it at the time, but they'd picked the biggest steal of the 2015 NBA draft. Here's the list of shooting guards selected ahead of Powell in the 2015 draft, and other than Devin Booker, you'll see it's hard to believe the names chosen ahead of Norm, who's broken out for the Raptors this season to the tune of career highs by far across the board. Powell's a laterally valuable perimeter stopper and can slash the basket with abandon on the other end, and has been one of the second-seeded Raptors' most reliable options this year. Number 6, Goran Dragic. The Dragon's still a problem for opposing defenses, whether facilitating or scoring after he consistently gets the first step on his matchup. The 6th Man of the Year award's still up for grabs, and I'd argue Dragic's one of the most valuable bench players in basketball and deserves some consideration for it. Selected as the 45th pick in the NBA draft 12 years ago, Goran's fellow point guards Derrick Rose and Westbrook, who went on to revolutionize the point guard position, of course were deservedly picked 1st and 5th. Looking down this 2008 draft class at point guard after that, and there's Jared Bayless, who's out of the league, George Hill, who happens to be another 6th Man of the Year candidate, Mario Chalmers, also out of the league like Jared Bayless, and Sean Singularity, who lasted 1 NBA season. Goran's had the best career by far of any of those players. He's made an All-Star and All-NBA team, and won the Most Improved Player award in 2014. Number 5, Lou Williams. The 45th pick 3 years earlier than Dragic, an 18-year-old Lou Williams became one of the last players to go straight from high school to the NBA before the college/overseas experience eligibility rule was put into place by the late former Commissioner David Stern. For Lou, despite being significantly undersized in the NBA and being passed on by players at his position like Monte Ellis and Nate Robinson, who had solid accomplished careers, but their NBA tenures quickly expired after their peak. Lou Wills also outlasted fellow 2005 draft class guards Jarrett Jack, Gerald Green, Raymond Felton, Deron Williams, and Antoine Wright. Williams is a 3-time 6th Man of the Year award winner and is one of the better pure ISO scorers in the modern era and in the game today. Number 4, Malcolm Brogdon. The reason Brogdon tops the previously ranked Williams comes down to what Malcolm does in every aspect of the game. And I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, but we can't forget that last year Malcolm quietly joined the 50-40-90 club. Every other player in that club is a Hall of Famer. Additionally, Malcolm's one of the better leaders in the NBA, can lock up the perimeter with lateral quickness, and on the other side with his strength and speed combination, Brogdon can seamlessly create shots for himself, and once the defense collapses to him, his teammates, as the man also blesses the Pacer offense with his swift passing ability. It's tough to imagine how 35 draft slots went by in 2016 and the Bucks were able to select the Rookie of the Year for 2017. We've seen some straight-up brutal drafting in this video, but in Brogdon's case, most selections ahead of him at his position were solid picks. But that doesn't excuse the disrespect given to him from GMs in this draft. I'm saying this to end the stigma behind GMs not selecting 4-year college players because they're too old. To see endless prime examples of that, I ranked the 10 best undrafted players in the NBA. Click the top right to watch that after this, but Malcolm, like many others, spent 4 years at a reputable D1 school, in this case Virginia, and got very little respect from front offices. Number 3, Montrezl Harrell. If you can remember to open this video, Bleacher Report got one dead wrong. However, this time in 2015, this time writer Kelly Scaletta got one partly wrong, because predicting that Montrezl Harrell would be a success story obviously turned out to be a success. However, it didn't happen until the Houston Rockets gave up on him, using him as bait to receive Chris Paul. But at that point in his career, Harrell was used to being undervalued in the NBA, as 2 years before he was traded to the Clippers, 31 picks went by in the 2015 draft and Harrell wasn't chosen. But with the Clippers, Montrezl then went on to develop into a near 20-point scorer and maybe the most valuable energy player on both ends of the floor in basketball. He's racked up the second most amount of charges in the NBA, averages over a block per game, and can dominantly rebound with his overwhelmingly high vertical. Overall, his 19-7 averages in 28 minutes contribute to making the Clippers the title threat they are. Number 2, Khris Middleton. The 2-time All-Star was picked 9 spots below the 10th-ranked Draymond Green at pick number 39 in the 2012 NBA Draft, but once an overlooked prospect after 3 years at Texas A&M, Khris Middleton's become one of the more lethal sharpshooters in the world. Like his generationally great co-star Giannis in his rookie year, Middleton averaged under 7 points per game in his first NBA season. Middleton's rookie year was spent with the Pistons, but almost exactly 7 years ago to this day, before the 2013-14 season, KHRIS was traded to the Bucks for Brandon Jennings. Ever since then, KHRIS has proved to have an extremely tough mentality and that he can knock down anything once he gets a shooting rhythm. But this year, he'll truly face the test of whether or not his talent is at the caliber of being the second option on a title team. But number 1 is Nikola Jokic. You are a basketball wizard if you thought the pick number 41, the selected during a commercial break center, Nikola Jokic, would go on to be the best player in the 2015 draft class, but that could very well be the case. I ranked Joel Embiid, who was the number 3 pick in that draft, 1 spot ahead of him in my center rankings back in May, but I'd be open to debating anyone in the comment section on which of the two are better, either Embiid or Jokic, that is. The one thing for certain is, Jokic is the most versatile center in the game. Although I'll barely take Embiid's dominance and polished postgame over Jokic, the Serbian phenom can do everything. Amplifying that point about his versatility, a part of the Nuggets' intimidatingly big lineup, Nikola's now playing the point guard spot. That's right, y'all. It's not just an out-of-position pack in 2K's My Team. Jokic is going to be backing down smaller guards to potentially revolutionize the NBA. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best player on this list by far. That's only from a fan's perspective though. However, if you enjoyed my commentary, subscribe for new videos every Monday and Friday, filled with NBA predictions, lists, hot takes, and stories. Leave a like to help this video out, and let's be friends on Instagram. Follow me there at DFlowHoops for updates on the go. This was DFlow, and I'll see you next video.